Okay, I hope you paused the video and you are ready to check your answers. First, find a common denominator, okay, for the two. And for me, the first that comes to mind is it's 56. I just multiply 7 times 8 and that will always give you the common denominator. Not the lowest common denominator, but it will always give you 1. So I'll just take that route. 7 times 8 equals 56. You must do to the top whatever you did to the bottom. I had to multiply 7 times 8, so I have to multiply 6 times 8. 6 times 8 equals 48. I had to multiply the 8 by 7, so I must multiply the 1 times 7, and I get 7. Okay. And now I just simply add. 48 plus 7 is 55 over 56. At this point, you would check if they can be simplified, okay? This is divisible by 2. This is not divisible by 2. This is divisible by, not divisible by 3. Because when you add them together, it's 11. It's not divisible by 3. This is also not divisible by 3. I believe this is where we leave it. It is in its simplest form. Okay, let's subtract. Actually, no, now let's add fraction, but with a mixed number, adding mixed numbers. When adding mixed numbers, you're going to find sometimes that they're not written nicely like this, horizontally, but they're written vertically. Don't get confused by that. If this confuses you, go ahead and rewrite it horizontally, okay? Once you've written it horizontally, remember that the mixed number, the whole number, is part of the fraction. This whole number is part of this fraction. So we have to take it into account when we find a common denominator. So let's go ahead and work with it. You can either convert this whole fraction into an improper fraction, this whole mixed number into an improper fraction, or let's just simply add. I'm going to add the 2 plus the 6, and I will have 8. And now I will work with these two fractions to find a common denominator. If you think the common denominator is 8, you are correct. That is the first, when counting by 8s and counting by 4s, they will both have 8 as one of their factors. Okay, so I didn't do anything to the 8. I shouldn't do anything to the 5. I multiply the 4 times 2, so I should multiply the 3 times 2. And now I get 11 over 8. Okay? I can simply just X this out, because this is my new fraction here. I have more than one whole here. I have more than 8 out of 8. So I can add one more whole to this. So now my new answer is 9. And the difference between 8 and 11 is 3. So I have 3 left over. 8. 9 and 3/8 is my new answer. Okay, go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video, please. Okay, let's try and check your work. I've rewritten mine horizontally because I prefer it this way. And the next thing I'm going to do is simplify. Here I have 6 9s. I can simplify this to 2/3. This is 2 and here's the third. Okay? And I cannot simplify this one because this is a prime number. Now I can go ahead and work the way I did the first one. 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay? And now I need a common denominator for 3 and 12. If you think it's 12, you're correct, because you can count by 3s and get 3, 6, 9, 12. And 12 is the first one when you're counting by 12. So I had to multiply the 3, I multiplied it by 4 to get 12. So I must do the same to the 2. 2 times 4 is 8. I didn't do anything to this 12, so I won't do anything to this 7. And that makes it 8 plus 7. 8 plus 7 equals 15 over 12. we know that now here I have another whole. It's right there. I have a 12 over 12 with a 3 left over. So that 12 over 12 will get added to my whole pile, and it makes it 8. And like I said, I have 3 left over 12. And we can still simplify this. Let's simplify it to 8 and 1/4. Because there's 1 here, but 4 threes there. Okay, I hope you got this answer. Okay, follow the same techniques to subtract fractions and mixed numbers. Remember to find a common denominator first. Okay, so go ahead and try these two. Okay, if you haven't paused the video to try these on your own, please go ahead and do so now. But if you need a little help getting started, look at what I did. I turned the 6 into a fraction by placing it over 1. And over here, I redistributed this mixed number. I redistributed because 7 is larger than 3. If I'm subtracting it, this is going to take more than what I have. So I had to take one of my whole numbers, one of my 8 out of 8s. Remember, you have 4 8 out of 8s here. I took one of those 8 out of 8 and I added it to this fraction so that it became 11 over 8, because 8 plus 3 is 11. Okay, so now it's 3, 11 eighths minus 3, 7 eighths. Okay, this will help you. Okay, now that you have this, perhaps you can pause it and continue on your own. Okay, I hope you paused it. The way we do it is simple. First, we must find a common denominator. When adding and subtracting, the first thing you do is find a common denominator. Common denominator for the first one is 9. We have to multiply the 1 times 9, so we multiply the 6 times 9, and we get 54. We didn't do anything to this 9, so we do nothing to this 5. We keep it with the subtraction. We subtract 5, and that gives us 49 over 9. How many 9s do we have in 49? 9 times 5 is 45. We have 4 left over. Okay, that's your answer for the first one. Let's try the second one. Okay, for the second one, we just simply subtract the whole numbers first, and we have 0, right? 3 minus 3 is 0. And then 11 minus 7 gives us 3. So your answer should be 3 eighths. There you have it. Okay, we're almost done. We only have 2 more skills to practice, number 5 and number 6. Number 5 is listing all fractions from smallest to greatest. Remember, I'm going to put a number of them on there, maybe only 4 or 5. And the best way to do it, boys and girls, is to turn every fraction into a decimal. Okay, you might not have to complete the whole decimal. Just knowing what number goes in the 10th place will help you. Okay, most of the time. Other times you might have to go to the 100th or even 1,000th of a place to understand where they fall in order. Okay, so let's try it with these 5 fractions. Go ahead and copy these down. Then pause the video and convert them all to decimals and then put them in order. Okay, go ahead. The first thing that you need to make sure that you remember is that all proper fractions are a decimal. So I'm going to go right ahead and write them all underneath here with 0 decimal, 0 decimal, 0 decimal, 0 decimal, and 0 decimal, because I know that they're all going to be 0 decimal something. They're all proper fractions. Okay? Here's the trick I've taught you in the past. When you divide the numerator by the denominator, and you know it's already 0 decimal, you can change this to the tenths, to a number in the tenths. So, sorry, in the tenths. So, maybe make it a 40. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So 0 decimal 8, 80%. Let's try this one. 10 divided by 2, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay. Let's try this one. Okay. 150 divided by 25. How many 25s do you have in 150? You have 6. 6 of them. Let's try this one. This one is not going to be as easy, right? You're going to get more than a number beyond the tenths. Because how many 11s do you have in 77? Well, if you put 6, that's true. 6 times 11, okay, is 66. There's your first. So these two, you have to differentiate between those two. You know that this is 0.60. There's nothing after that. So that's 60. Okay. The next number, will it be 0? No, because when you multiply 11 times 6, you get 66. You still have 4 left over. So how many? So you know the next number is going to be 3, because there's 3 in 40. 3 11s in 40. So you know that this one's slightly higher than this one. Okay? And then how many 100 and how many 20s are in 130? Or there's a different way of doing it. You could just write what do you have to do to the 20 to make it 100? You multiply it by 5. That gives you 100. And you multiply it 13 by 5 and you get 65, right? And that's how many 5s are of what 13/20th is. Okay, 65% right there, 6,500. All right, now you can put them in order. They're all clearly over half, so half is first, right here, half. And then we have to deal with all 3 of these. Okay, the lowest one is 0.6, so 15 over 25. Okay, that's done, and that's done. And then we have the 63, so 7 over 11. And then we have, 7 over 11, and then we have 13 over 20, 13/20th. And then finally, that's supposed to be a comma, 4/5. And there you go, boys and girls. First turn it into a decimal, and then back into a fraction so that you know the order from smallest to greatest. Okay, now we are multiplying fractions. Remember that you should multiply straight across. Okay, multiplying fractions is actually the easiest of them all. You don't have to look for a common denominator. You can just simply go right ahead and multiply them straight across. I would recommend cross-referencing first. Such as, for example, if you look at number 1, you can cross-reference. How many 5s do you have here and how many 5s do you have here? Here I have 1, so you can limit that to 1 and 1 here. How many 2s do I have here? I have 1, 2, right? Only 1, but here I have 4, so 1 and 4. So this becomes a lot easier. You end up multiplying 1 times 1, and over here you end up multiplying 4 times 1. Much, much easier. When you get down to this point, remember to change them from a mixed number to an improper fraction. And the way you do that is by multiplying the 3 times the 2, you get 6 plus 1. 3 times 8 plus 1. And that's your numerator that you figured out there. And you just keep the same denominator, 3 and 8. Okay? And then you multiply straight across. But before you multiply, always cross-reference. Okay, go ahead and try it. Pause the video. Try it on your own. Okay, so just like I said, you can cross-reference here, and you know that you have 1 5 here, so you get rid of this and you make that a 1, and then you make this one as a 1 as well. You get rid of the 2 because you have 1 2 here, but you have 4 2's there, and there you go. It's simplified. Okay, so now you can work straight across. 1 times 1 equals 1, and 4 times 1 equals 4, and your answer is 1/4. And here I told you to multiply the bottom number, okay, the denominator with the whole number. You multiply there, and then you add the top, multiply and add to the top. So 3 times 2 equals 6, plus 1 is 7 over 3 times 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 8. Okay, now check to see if you can cross-reference. No.